Practice problem 1.3, looking through our instructions, millimeters, grams, and seconds, design intent, the origin is at the center of the circle and at that bottom level. The part is symmetric top to bottom, not so much left to right. Sketches should be fully defined. We're going to use lines, center lines, arcs, circles, and the extruded boss. We could use the cut extrude, but since we've just investigated the um, contours and regions, we can do this with one sketch. And by selecting our regions, we have a quick method of generating this geometry. So dimension-wise, if we're treating this as the front plane, well, actually, if we want it to look like theirs, which would drive the center of mass calculation, um, we really need to make the selection in the top plane to start this sketch. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do a new millimeters part. And I'm going to introduce the right-click method of opening. And actually, I tend towards the right click because it has all of the list, but if you just click on the top plane, it's going to give you the sketch. So maybe I'll start trying to do that. Keep in mind, you can always go back to the sketch, and when you click on sketch, if the plane's selected as it is in that case, it's going to drop right into it. If nothing's selected, that's where you get the preview of the front, top, and the right planes to select from. So we're going to go circle, and I'm going to go click for these. So click on the origin. I'm looking for that very quick flash of yellow that's telling me that it is concentric, and why the points are concentric instead of coincident. For the circle, well, they're circles. All right, so we're going to draw the inner, the outer. Come over, I'm looking for that inference line, and we'll draw one more. And well, since the hole is there, we'll go ahead and put that in. All right, so let's go ahead with the lines to connect these objects. And if I click on this as coincident, I should automatically get tangent. But I do want to be careful because there are some times where I don't want to be tangent, and we just have to watch for that geometry. So my little yellow boxes are telling me that I am coincident to the perimeter, and the line will be tangent. Now it wants to keep going because I did the click. We need to get back into it, so I'm going to go this way, and there is the tangency. There is the coincident, and if I drag along that perimeter until I see the tangent, then I will get that as part of my geometry. I'm using the middle mouse scroll wheel to help with centering. We can also use the F key on the keyboard to drive this. All right, so since there's no dimensions at this point. Oh, and actually that is a 6 with the 20. So since there's no dimensions at this point, the first dimension roughly scales. So I need a dimension between the outer and the inner, and we'll tell it that that is 6. Well, okay, except in that case where it's going to try to drive. And we'll see some shrinkage. That's not entirely unexpected. And between the two, we're going to go 38, and we should see these numbers correcting as they go, or the geometry correcting as we add the dimensions. And then radius of 9. So here's the first one where I really just want that circle because of this bottom boss and the tangency around that boss. So the radius of 9 we can double into 18, but let's just say I type in the 9, and wow, that looks really weird and it moves strange. not a big deal. We're going to right click, and it says display as radius. And let me escape completely out of that, so I'm starting fresh. A single left click gives you just this item. I am in the habit of wanting to see all of this other stuff, so that's why I'm continually moving towards the right click. All right, so select the origin, hold down the control button, select the center of the other two, and those are going to be horizontal. And poof, everything goes fully defined. I can tell that down here. So now we're using the contours and regions to make our selections. So this is where it can get maybe a little tricky in this decision-making process. At the worst case, we try a few different things and go back and edit the sketch. So let's do that as an example. My first instinct is to select the 3 regions, but let's just say I do that one, and its height is 6 millimeters. All right, and then I realized later on that, okay, I see the result, and well, that isn't really what I wanted. So I right click, and we're going to be edit feature. And I'm going to try and break myself of the habit of always doing the right click and work on the left click a little bit more. So selecting those additional regions. All right, we're going to see what we get. All right, so that filled it in, which kind of surprises me because based on what I selected, there is it went to the contour. So the contour it found is the outside circle. All right, so that's going to fill everything in. And I don't necessarily want that, so I'm going to hit delete on the keyboard for those two. And notice that in this case, rotating it over or getting a little bit closer to that region helps with the definition. All right, so those two are in there. That's a really good start. And then I want to expand out, so the little arrows are going to expand out the feature to where I can see the sketch. Too long of a click is going to let me rename it. If it was something weird or something for what I was doing in CAM, then I would probably rename, but for the most part, it isn't really that necessary. So rotating over so I can see that region, 14 millimeters. And we're at that stage where a positive into a positive merge has no net result with the solid body. All right, so it's just a solid into a solid. It doesn't accumulate unless that merge result is off. All right, and then the bottom is going to be, oh, well, they're the same sketch. So notice the little hand holding the solid or the contour region symbol. So either one of those will work. And then we'll make sure to pick that one. It's going the wrong way, so I can either drag. I can try to go to 24. Okay, I'm just going to type it in. All right, so that puts me there. And notice again, it did not put in the hole, and it will kind of throw you, maybe trick you that contour that we got really should have been a region. And so I have to be a little careful in what I'm selecting. So just highlighting that, hitting delete, making sure that in the preview I am seeing that cylinder. Those are all going to be helpful items. So we're going to save this, P1-3, and our value then is 16268. And we're looking at the value, or evaluate, and then the mass properties, fly that in, and 16267.9. So if we round that, I got one. All right, so center of mass based on that origin, we're looking at the moments or the directions for the center of mass. If you haven't encountered these before, I always just refer it to if you took a string and tied it at that point, that's where it would balance. So in the geometry, we have gotten something useful out of our design. So let's go ahead and close out this video. We'll be on to the next one.